Picture this. You're working the graveyard shift at a diner in Koreatown, Los Angeles. It's 11:47 p.m. on a Tuesday. The coffee's burnt. Your feet hurt. And there's a little girl sitting in booth 7 who's been there for 3 hours. Alone. No parent. No guardian. Just a small Korean child with her hands folded on the table, staring at the door like she's waiting for someone who's never coming. You've seen weird things working nights in this city, but something about this girl makes your skin crawl. Not because she's creepy, but because she's too calm, too still, like she's done this before. When she finally speaks to you, her voice is barely a whisper. Can you walk me home? And that's when everything changes. Because what you don't know yet, what you can't know, is that this little girl isn't just any child. She's the last living heir to one of the most dangerous Korean crime syndicates in Los Angeles. And the second you agree to help her, you stop being invisible. You become a person of interest. And in their world, that's the most dangerous thing you can be. Before we dive into this story, if you love deep, cinematic Mafia tales that'll have you on the edge of your seat, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button right now. I promise you, we're about to take you on a journey that'll give you the thrill of your life. This channel is all about those dark, layered crime stories that stay with you long after the video ends. So subscribe, and let's get into it. Now, let me take you back to where it all began. Her name is Maya Jackson, 32 years old. Works the night shift at Kim's Diner on the corner of 8th and Irolo. It's not the kind of place tourists stumble into. It's where cab drivers grab coffee at 3 a.m., where insomniacs kill time between bad decisions, where the fluorescent lights hum just a little too loud, and the vinyl booths are held together with duct tape and hope. Maya's been working here for 4 years, ever since a marketing job dried up, and the bills didn't. She tells herself it's temporary. They all do. It's a Wednesday night, technically Thursday morning, and the diner is almost empty. Just her, the cook, a guy named Lewis who barely speaks, and the little girl in booth 7. Maya noticed her around 8:30 p.m. A Korean girl, maybe 7 or 8 years old, with dark hair cut in a neat bob and wearing a school uniform that looked expensive. Too expensive for this neighborhood. She'd ordered a hot chocolate and sat there, hands folded, staring at the door. Hours passed. Maya checked on her twice, asked if she was okay, if someone was coming. The girl just nodded politely and said, "Soon." But soon never came. By 11:30, even Lewis was glancing over from the kitchen, concern creasing his weathered face. Maya couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. Not dangerous wrong. Just off. The girl hadn't touched the phone, hadn't fidgeted, hadn't cried. She just waited. Maya wiped down the counter for the 3rd time and made a decision. She walked over to booth 7, sliding into the seat across from the girl. "Hey, sweetie," Maya said softly. "It's getting really late. Do you have someone I can call?" The girl looked up. Her eyes were dark, impossibly calm for a child. "No phone," she said simply. Maya frowned. "What about your parents? Where do they think you are?" "My father is busy." The way she said it made Maya's chest tighten. Not sad, not scared, just matter-of-fact, like she'd said it 1,000 times before. "Okay," Maya said carefully. "Where do you live? Maybe I can help you get home." The girl studied her for a long moment. Maya felt weirdly exposed under that gaze, like she was being evaluated, measured. Finally, the girl spoke. "Can you walk me home?" Maya blinked. "Walk you? Honey, where's home?" "Not far. 10 minutes. At midnight? I don't know if that's." "Please." That single word landed differently. Not begging, not manipulation. Just a quiet request, heavy with something Maya couldn't name. She looked at the girl's face. So small, So alone, Maya thought about her own niece back in Atlanta. Thought about all the stories she'd heard about kids left behind, forgotten, hurt. She sighed. All right, let me close out my register and tell Lewis. But then I'm taking you straight home, okay? And if nobody's there, I'm calling the police. The girl nodded. Okay. 20 minutes later, Maya clocked out, grabbed a jacket, and stepped into the cool Los Angeles night with a child she didn't know. The streets of Koreatown were never truly quiet, but this late, they softened. Neon sign for Norabang bars and 24-hour spas flickered in the darkness. A few cars drifted past. The air smelled like grilled meat and exhaust. The girl walked beside Maya with perfect posture, her small backpack bouncing slightly with each step. What's your name? Maya asked. Hannah. That's pretty. I'm Maya. I know. Maya stopped walking. How do you know my name? Hannah looked up at her, confused. Your name tag. Right. Of course. Maya let out a breath she didn't know she was holding and started walking again. So, Hannah, you do this a lot? Wait at diners for someone to walk you home. Sometimes. Sometimes? Where's your mom? Hannah didn't answer right away. When she did, her voice was quiet. She's gone. Maya's heart sank. She wanted to ask more but didn't. Some wounds you don't poke. They walked in silence for a while, turning down a side street lined with old apartment buildings. The neighborhood shifted subtly, less commercial, more residential. Trees appeared where there hadn't been any before. That's when Maya noticed a car. A black SUV, tinted windows, parked across the street. Engine off but definitely occupied. She could see the faint glow of a phone screen inside. Probably nothing. People sat in cars all the time in L.A., but as they walked past, Maya heard the engine start. Her pulse quickened. Hannah, is your house close? Very close. They turned another corner. The SUV didn't follow, at least not visibly, but Maya couldn't shake the feeling that they were being watched. She glanced down at Hannah, who seemed completely unbothered. Hannah, are you sure you're safe at home? If something's wrong, you can tell me. Hannah looked up at her with those dark, unreadable eyes. I'm very safe, she said. Then, almost like an afterthought, the men who don't sleep make sure. Maya's stomach dropped. What men? The ones who watch. A chill ran down Maya's spine. She stopped walking, crouching down to Hannah's level. Sweetie, what do you mean by that? But Hannah just tilted her head slightly, like she didn't understand the question. They watch so I'm safe. Father said so. Father. Not Dad. Not Daddy. Father. Maya stewed slowly, her mind racing. This wasn't right. None of this was right. But what was she supposed to do? Drag the kid to a police station? What would she even say? She looked around the quiet street. Saw nothing. Heard nothing, but she felt it. Eyes. Somewhere in the darkness, someone was watching them, and they had been from the very beginning. Maya's hands were trembling slightly as they continued down the residential street. She shoved them into her jacket pockets, trying to look casual, trying to convince herself she was imagining things. But she wasn't. The street felt wrong. Too empty, too still, like a stage set waiting for actors to enter. Hannah walked beside her with that same eerie composure, her small shoes making soft tapping sounds on the sidewalk. She hummed something under her breath, a lullaby, maybe, something in Korean. How much further? Maya asked, her voice tighter than she wanted it to be. 2 more blocks. 2 blocks felt like 2 miles. They passed a corner convenience store, its lights harsh and fluorescent. An old Korean man stood behind the counter, watching them through the window. His eyes lingered on Maya for just a beat too long, before he looked away. Everyone's watching, Maya thought. Or I'm losing my mind. Probably both. Hannah, Maya said carefully, those men you mentioned, the ones who watch, are they police? Hannah shook her head. No, they work for father. What does your father do? Business. The vaguest answer possible. Maya tried a different angle. What kind of business? Important business. Maya felt frustration rising but pushed it down. The kid was 7, 8. She probably didn't even understand what her father did. They crossed another street. Maya noticed another black SUV parked half a block down. Different one. Same vibe. Her heart hammered. Hannah, I need you to be honest with me. Is someone following us? Hannah looked up at her, blinking slowly. Yes. The casual confirmation hit Maya like a slap. What? Who? The men who protect me. From what? Bad people. Maya's throat went dry. She looked around, suddenly hyper-aware of every shadow, every parked car, every darkened window. Hannah, why didn't you tell me this before? You didn't ask. Child logic. Infuriating and bulletproof. Maya wanted to run. Every instinct screamed at her to grab this kid, find the nearest police station, and let someone else deal with whatever nightmare she'd stumbled into. But something stopped her. Maybe it was the way Hannah looked at her, trusting, calm, like Maya was the safest person in the world. Or maybe it was a growing realization that running might be the worst possible move. If men were following them, watching them, and Maya suddenly bolted with a kid, what would they think? What would they do? She forced herself to keep walking. Keep breathing. Act normal. Hannah, does your father know where you are right now? Yes. How? Hannah reached into her backpack and pulled out a small, sleek phone. Not a kid's phone. An expensive, encrypted-looking device. I checked in at the diner. Maya stared at it. You have a phone? You told me you didn't have a phone. You asked if I had someone to call. I didn't. I had someone to message. Maya closed her eyes and counted to 5. This kid was going to give her a heart attack. They turned onto a quieter street, lined with jacaranda trees and gated homes. The neighborhood had shifted again, wealthier now, more secluded. The kind of area where people minded their own business because they could afford to. Hannah stopped in front of a tall, modern gate. Beyond it, Maya could see a sprawling house, all clean lines and dark glass. This is home, Hannah said simply. Maya stared at the house. It looked like something out of an architecture magazine. Cold, expensive, anonymous. You live here? Just you and your father. And the others. Of course there were others. Hannah pressed her small hand against the biometric scanner on the gate. It beeped softly and swung open. Maya hesitated at the threshold. Every cell in her body screamed at her to walk away. To say goodbye right here, turn around, and forget this night ever happened. But Hannah looked back at her, those dark eyes impossibly trusting. Will you come inside? Just for a minute. I don't think that's. Please. Father wants to thank you. And there it was. The invitation that felt like a command. Maya looked past Hannah at the house. Saw movement in one of the windows. A silhouette, watching. She thought about the SUVs. The men who didn't sleep. The way everyone seemed to know exactly where they were. She thought about her niece back home. About kindness. About the tiny, stupid choices that change everything. Maya took a breath. Just for a minute. Hannah smiled, the first real smile Maya had seen all night. And together, they walked through the gate. The moment Maya crossed the threshold, she felt it. A shift in the air. A tightening. Like stepping into a trap that had been waiting for her all along. Maya didn't sleep. She sat on her couch in her tiny one-bedroom apartment, staring at the wall until the sun came up. Her phone was on the coffee table, silent. She hadn't called anyone, hadn't texted anyone. What would she even say? Asterisk, hey, so I accidentally got involved with the Korean Mafia. How's your Thursday? Asterisk. The absurdity of it would have been funny if she wasn't so terrified. She'd noticed him immediately when Junho dropped her off at 2 a.m. Another black SUV parked across the street. A man sitting in a sedan 2 cars down. They weren't hiding. They wanted her to know they were there. For your protection, Kwon had said. It felt more like house arrest. Maya made coffee she didn't drink. Took a shower she didn't feel. Changed into clothes that felt wrong on her body. Everything felt wrong. By noon, she'd made a decision. She was going to say no. She was going to walk away from this insanity. Go to the police if she had to, and let the chips fall where they may. She wasn't built for this world. She was a waitress from Atlanta who'd moved to L.A. for a marketing career that never happened. She was nobody. She didn't belong in Kwon's cold house with his colder business. Maya grabbed a phone to call. Someone, a lawyer, maybe, the police. Her sister. It rang before she could dial. Unknown number. Her stomach dropped, but she answered anyway. Hello. Miss Jackson. Junho's voice. Calm. Professional. A car will pick you up at 8 p.m. Mr. Kwon would like to have dinner with you and Hannah. I haven't made my decision yet. He knows. He would still like to see you. Maya's jaw clenched. And if I say no? A pause. Then, quieter. He would be disappointed. Hannah would be disappointed. The emotional manipulation was so obvious it should have made her angry. Instead, it just made her tired. Fine. 8 p.m. She hung up before he could respond. The rest of the day crawled by in a haze of anxiety. Maya tried to distract herself with TV, with cleaning, with anything. Nothing worked. At 7:45 p.m., she dressed in the nicest thing she owned, a simple black dress she'd bought for job interviews that never panned out. She felt ridiculous, like she was dressing for her own funeral. At exactly 8 p.m., there was a knock at her door. Junho stood in the hallway, looking exactly the same as the night before. Same suit, same expressionless face. Miss Jackson. Let's get this over with. The drive was silent. They went deeper into the wealthy hills above Koreatown, where the houses grew larger and the walls grew higher. Maya watched the city lights spread out below them, beautiful and indifferent. They pulled up to a different house this time, smaller than Kwon's main residence, but no less impressive. Traditional Korean architecture mixed with modern touches. A garden with a koi pond, paper lanterns glowing softly in the dusk. Junho opened her door. They're waiting inside. Maya stepped out, her heels clicking on stone. The front door opened before she reached it. Hannah stood there, wearing a pretty yellow dress instead of her school uniform. Her face lit up when she saw Maya. You came. Despite everything, Maya felt her heart soften. Yeah, kiddo, I came. Hannah grabbed her hand and pulled her inside. The house was warmer than Kwon's, literally and figuratively. There were colors here, art on the walls, books on shelves. It felt lived in. They walked through to a dining room where a table was set for 3. Korean food covered the surface, banchan, grilled meats, steaming rice, colorful vegetables. Kwon stood when she entered, gesturing to a chair. Miss Jackson, thank you for joining us. Maya sat stiffly. You didn't really give me a choice. There's always a choice. Doesn't feel like it. Hannah climbed into the chair between them, completely oblivious to the tension. Or maybe not oblivious. Maybe just used to it. They ate in awkward silence for a few minutes. The food was incredible, but Maya could barely taste it. Finally, Kwon spoke. I want to be honest with you about something, Miss Jackson. Maya set down her chopsticks. Please do. The test of the diner. It was not just about kindness. It was about threat assessment. Meaning I needed to know if you were sent by my enemies, if you were a plant, an operative, someone trying to get close to Hannah. Maya's eyes widened. You thought I was some kind of spy. I had to consider it. I'm a waitress. The best operatives are the ones who look ordinary. Maya laughed bitterly. Well, I'm sorry to disappoint, but I'm exactly what I look like. Broke, tired, and way out of my depth. Kwon studied her for a long moment. I know. My people vetted you thoroughly. Maya Diane Jackson. Born in Atlanta. Moved to Los Angeles 4 years ago. Marketing degree from Georgia State. No criminal record. No suspicious associations. No red flags. Maya felt violated. You investigated me. Of course. That's insane. That's due diligence. Hannah reached for a piece of grilled beef, completely unbothered by the conversation happening over her head. Maya rubbed her temples. Why am I here, Mr. Kwon? Really? Kwon set down his utensils and leaned back in his chair. Because Hannah likes you, and Hannah doesn't like many people. The little girl looked up, smiling. You're nice, and you smell like coffee. Despite everything, Maya smiled. Thanks, I think. Kwon continued, his voice softer now. Her mother died 2 years ago. Cancer. Since then, Hannah has been isolated. She has tutors, bodyguards, everything she needs. But she has no friends, no normal interactions, no one who treats her like a child instead of an asset. Maya looked at Hannah, who was carefully arranging vegetables on her plate, and felt a pang of sympathy. That's not her fault, Maya said quietly. No, it's mine. The admission hung in the air. Kwon poured himself tea, his movements slow and deliberate. I am not a good man, Miss Jackson. I have done things that would horrify you. I have made decisions that cost lives. I operate in a world where mercy is weakness and trust is currency. But I love my daughter. She is the only pure thing I have left. Maya swallowed hard. So what do you want from me? I want you to be her friend. The simplicity of it caught Maya off guard. What? Not a nanny, not a bodyguard. A friend. Someone who sees her as Hannah, not as my daughter. Someone who can give her moments of normalcy in a life that is anything but. Maya looked at the little girl, who was watching her with those dark, hopeful eyes. And in return, Maya asked, in return, you are protected, paid, cared for. You will want for nothing. And the danger? The people who saw me. Kwon's face hardened. They will be dealt with. You have my word. Maya wanted to ask what dealt with meant, but decided she didn't want to know. She looked down at her plate, thought about her empty apartment, her dead-end job, her student loans, her complete lack of purpose. Thought about Hannah, who just wanted someone to be nice to her. If I say yes, Maya said slowly, I need rules, boundaries. I'm not getting involved in your business. I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm just here for Hannah. Kwon nodded. Agreed. And if I want out, really want out, you let me go. A pause. Then, if circumstances allow it, yes. Not a promise, but as close as she was going to get. Maya took a deep breath. Okay, I'll do it. Hannah's face broke into the biggest smile Maya had seen yet, and Kwon, for the first time, looked genuinely relieved. Thank you, Miss Jackson. Call me Maya. Maya. They finished dinner in something resembling peace. Hannah chatted about her favorite books, her drawings, her goldfish named Bubbles. Normal kid stuff. For a moment, Maya let herself believe this could actually work. That she could be a friend to this lonely little girl without drowning in the darkness around her. But deep down, She knew she'd already crossed a line, and there was no going back. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks that felt like 3 years. Maya moved into a guest house on Kwon's property. Small, private, comfortable. Nothing like her old apartment. There was a kitchen she actually wanted to cook in, a bathroom with water pressure that didn't sputter, a bed that didn't creak. She quit the diner. Kwon paid her more in a week than she'd made in 3 months slinging coffee. Her sister called twice. Maya lied both times, said work was good, life was fine. Couldn't explain the truth even if she wanted to. Most days, she spent time with Hannah. They drew pictures, read books, watched movies, baked cookies that turned out burned but edible. Normal stuff. Kid stuff. Hannah opened up slowly. Talked about her mom, how she used to sing Korean lullabies. Talked about missing school, missing friends she used to have before everything changed. Maya's heart broke a little more each day. But there were reminders. Always reminders. The armed men who patrolled the property at night. The cameras in every room. The way Junho appeared whenever Maya left the grounds, shadowing her to the grocery store, the park, everywhere. The phone call she'd overheard 2 weeks in, Kwon speaking rapid Korean in his study. The word that stood out even in translation, asterisk eliminate star. She didn't ask who, didn't want to know. This was her life now. Comfort purchased with willful ignorance. It was a Tuesday afternoon when everything shifted again. Maya and Hannah were in the garden, Hannah chasing butterflies while Maya sat on a bench reading. The sun was warm. The koi pond burbled peacefully. For a moment, it almost felt normal. Then Junho appeared, moving faster than she'd ever seen him move. Inside, now. The urgency in his voice made Maya's blood freeze. She grabbed Hannah's hand and ran. They were hustled into the main house, down a hallway Maya had never been in before, into a room that looked like a bunker. Reinforced walls, no windows, a heavy door that locked with a mechanical thunk. Hannah clung to Maya, suddenly small again. What's happening? Maya demanded. Junho was already on his phone, speaking rapid Korean. He looked at Maya, his face grim. Rival faction. They know about you. They are coming. Terror gripped her. Coming? Hey. They won't get through, but stay here until we clear the threat. He left, locking them in. Maya sank to the floor, pulling Hannah into her arms. The girl was trembling now, trying to be brave but failing. It's okay, Maya whispered, stroking her hair. It's okay, baby. But it wasn't okay. She could hear it now, shouting outside. A gunshot, distant but unmistakable. Then another. Hannah buried her face in Maya's chest. Time stopped. Minutes felt like hours. More gunshots. Closer now. Then silence. Horrible, heavy silence. Maya held her breath, her heart hammering so hard she thought it might burst. Finally, the door unlocked. Kwon stood there, his suit jacket gone, his white shirt stained with something dark. Blood. Not his, Maya realized. He wasn't limping. His face was calm. Cold. It's over, he said simply. Maya couldn't speak. Just held Hannah tighter. Kwon knelt down in front of them, his eyes on his daughter. Are you hurt? Hannah shook her head. Good. He stood, looked at Maya. I apologize. This should not have happened. Maya found her voice, though it shook. You said I'd be safe. You are. They are dead. So casual, so matter-of-fact, like he was talking about the weather. Maya felt bile rise in her throat. That night, after Hannah was finally asleep, Maya sat in her guest house and cried. Really cried. The kind of crying that leaves you hollow. She'd known, intellectually, what Kwon was, what his world entailed. But knowing and witnessing were different things. There was a knock on her door around midnight. Kwon stood there, holding 2 glasses of whiskey. May I? Maya wanted to say no, wanted to scream at him. Instead, she stepped aside. They sat in her small living room, silent for a long time. I want out, Maya finally said. Kwon sipped his whiskey. I know. Then let me go. I can't. Anger fled. You promised. I said if circumstances allowed it. They don't. Not anymore. Why? Kwon set down his glass, his face heavy with something that looked almost like regret. Because you've become important to Hannah. She trusts you, depends on you. If you leave now, it will break her, and I cannot allow that. So I'm a prisoner. Your family. The word landed like a punch. I didn't ask for this, Maya whispered. I know, but here we are. He stood, moving toward the door. Paused. The men who came today, they wanted leverage against me. They wanted Hannah, but they also wanted you, because they know that hurting you would hurt her, and hurting her would hurt me. Maya looked up at him, tears streaming down her face. I'm just a waitress. Not anymore. He left. Maya sat in the dark for a long time. Eventually, she walked back to the main house, found Hannah's room. The little girl was asleep, clutching her stuffed rabbit, her face peaceful. Maya sat beside the bed, watching her breathe. She thought about running, about going to the police, about trying to reclaim her old life. But she knew the truth now. Her old life was gone, erased the moment she'd agreed to walk a lonely little girl home. Kindness had been her undoing, and now she was bound to this family, this world, this beautiful, terrible cage. Hannah stirred in her sleep, reaching out. Maya took her small hand, squeezed it gently. I've got you, she whispered, and she meant it. For better or worse, this was her life now. The shadows had claimed her, and there was no walking away from shadows. Not in this world. Not anymore. So there you have it. One act of kindness. One lonely child. One night that changed everything. Maya walked into Kwon's world thinking she could walk back out. But that's not how power works. That's not how loyalty works. In the Mafia, there are no small gestures, no innocent bystanders. There are only people who are useful and people who are dead. Maya became useful, and now she'll spend the rest of her life wondering if that's better or worse. If you love this story, hit that like button. Subscribe for more deep, cinematic Mafia tales that'll keep you up at night. And drop a comment. Tell me what you would have done in Maya's shoes. Would you have walked the girl home? Would you have stayed? Let me know. Until next time, stay safe out there. You never know who's watching.